Good Friday to you. I'm Storm Team 9 Meteorologist Patrick Ellis here with your ENC Weather Update. This one's for Friday, the March the 14th update. We're looking ahead towards the weekend. Things looking good for Saturday, but Sunday, a completely different story. We've been talking about that rain chance. Now we're having to extend the rain chances into Tuesday at least. Now, also, we're making that mention for a little bit of wintry mischief trying to sneak in there on the back edge of that low, pulling through here on Monday. So we'll kind of look at that again and kind of give you a detailed look on what we're expecting over the next, say, 72 to 84 hours as this system kind of comes into play. Here's a look at some of the current numbers. 57 Greenville, 61 down the Highway 70 corridor from Kinston back over towards Goldsboro, 57 Rocky Mount, 56 as you head down towards Kenansville. It's 55 currently for Jacksonville as well as Morehead City here across eastern Carolina. Winds are out of the south and southwest at this point, and things are starting to pick up. Earlier on today, we were dry, we were calm pretty much, and now the winds have now picked up out of the southwest anywhere from 10 to 15 miles per hour. They will calm down a little bit tonight, but that is what has helped to import the warmer temperatures here across the east this evening. Here's a look at satellite and radar, kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. High pressure and control right now, but as that scoots off towards the east, back edge of the flow is going to come around and bring in some moisture. Here are the clouds that we're expecting tonight. Some rain showers back over to West Tennessee, encroaching on places like the Tennessee River Valley back up towards Nashville and Bowling Green. All that's going to be pushing eastward, but it gets over the mountains and kind of falls apart. So all we're going to be seeing tonight is clouds. But our next system down the line is going to be moving in here as we head towards Sunday. A look at this, the precision forecast model. I think tonight into the 40s. I think this model a little too warm, likely mid to upper 40s, but nearing 50 near the coastline. The sunshine comes back in full force after the clouds get out of here in the morning. Back in the low, possibly even mid-70s inland, coastal areas mid to upper 60s. And then next front drops south through the overnight hours. You see that little band of cloudiness. That's going to be the front dropping southward. And that's going to stall out here and bring us our rain chances. Lifestyle forecast, errands running and yard work in the green category. We're dry, but we're going to be wet by Sunday. So if you have any plans out and about tomorrow across the east, should be a nice day to do that. Boating forecast sounds moderate chop tomorrow under mainly sunny skies after the clouds get out of here. Now, we'll make the mention for maybe a shower early in the morning for the Pamlico Sound as well as the Outer Banks and just offshore. But for the most part, we're dry. There's our frontal boundary that drops in here through the overnight hours. And we're watching the system back over here towards the west. Now, there's going to be two parts to this. The first part comes in here on Sunday. The second part comes in on Monday. Here's Sunday. And right along that frontal boundary, that's where we're going to start to see the rain showers increasing. Now, you see that little bit of snow and ice trying to sneak in there as well. I think most of it should stay east, west of I-95, but it's going to be a close call for the I-95 counties. 38, and the temperatures will be falling through the morning time hours of Monday. We'll likely start off around 50, then tank, and then hold somewhere around 40 degrees or so. That gets out of here, but the second wave is looming off towards the south, and that comes in here during the overnight hours of Monday and will likely continue into Tuesday as well. All right, here's a look at the 12Z GFS run. This is looking at tomorrow at 2 p.m. and a nice little westerly flow basically on top of us, but our main story is what's going on back here in the west. And all that's going to come eastward as we head towards tomorrow. And it does look like it's going to be quite interesting as we head into your day on Sunday and into Monday as well. Tomorrow, I think we get through a nice day. We'll have a frontal boundary that will be approaching us from the north through the day tomorrow. And you can kind of see the 540 line stretching right in through here. And that's all going to be moving southward as that low pressure up here to the north lifts out. As that lifts out, that cold air is going to come sagging southward, along with this area of low pressure that is developing over here in the Red River region. All that's going to be moving eastward. That's all in association with the big upper level disturbance that's going to come rolling through as well. Now, yesterday I was showing the model showing this 540 line well south into Texas. And now, as we go forward in time, it just doesn't come all that far south. Comparative to where it was yesterday. Yesterday it was way down here into portions of North Texas into the Red River region. Now it's up here closer to Guyman, Oklahoma. And a big surface low developing off of that. as the main energy source comes across. But look at the differences in the modeling as far as the 500 millibar chart is concerned. And this is, like I said, off the GFS, huge positively tilted trough with that all that energy coming across, and some of this shooting out ahead of it, and that's what's going to help us to get the showers. And the surface low was analyzed on the GFS right through here, but the upper level disturbance is back here. And I don't see that we're going to get any phasing here, but the problem is that where does the low track? Where does this upper level disturbance track? And the GFS is like, yeah, it's going to come basically up towards North Carolina if that flow pattern holds. Here's a look at the NAM, and I'll tell you what, I like the placement of the NAM. I like the placement of where the low is with the NAM, but I don't like the intensity of the NAM, because if you look at what the NAM's trying to print, it's trying to print this huge upper level disturbance that would be very, very anomalous for this time of the year. But it's sticking to its guns right now. The new 18Z run came down, and it's similar, but not completely similar. But I don't like the intensity of the low coming off the NAM, but I like the placement compared to the GFS. GFS is way too far south, and the European is the same way, but now the European's kind of flattened everything out. And you see how the European looks similar to the GFS, but what actually ends up happening on the European, this little energy back here gets cut off and lags behind, and all the flow is going to be able to send out is this stuff off towards the east. So there is a lot of uncertainty in this forecast because of the fact that where does the low track? And I'm liking the GFS a little bit more, but everything is just so anomalous because of the fact that what time of year it is. It all has this big ridge off towards the west. It has this huge upper level low high just kind of hanging around up to the north. But what happens here in the middle, that is what's going to be the pivotal thing in this forecast, and what shoots off here towards the east. Again, back to the GFS, it's got the energy coming across Alabama on Monday afternoon, and all that energy is going to be shooting out another area of low pressure. So there's two areas that we're going to be watching. The surface feature that will be out ahead of this, and the upper level disturbance that comes behind this. So basically you've got the surface feature here moving offshore, wedge setup, and then the upper level disturbance hanging back here towards Mississippi and Alabama. And that's still got to rotate through. And you've got that wedge set. Anytime you have that wedge set up, that is a recipe for bad things that could happen. So when you look at the surface progs from the GFS, this is kind of what you got. And looking at 18Z on Monday, you've got ice back over into the Piedmont. The cold air damming setup. Now that would afford us maybe, with the temperatures tanking that day, and like I said, you can kind of look at the 35 degree line, see how the temperatures will be falling through the day on Monday. I don't think that Monday afternoon we're much above 35, maybe 36, 37 in the afternoon after this thing kind of tanks in here. I think most areas into the mid to upper 30s, low 40s across the coast, but that wedge is very stout and holds on even into Tuesday as the upper level disturbance rolls through. And if that's correct, then that's a nasty looking ice event. I don't want to call that right now just because there's just so much uncertainty in the forecast. I think by tomorrow we'll have a better idea, but needless to say, that's now a potential. There is that potential, especially for the I-95 counties. I think everybody who lives east of I-95, if you live east of I-95, pretty much for a good chunk of our viewing area, it's going to be a cold rain, but maybe some sleet pellets trying to sneak in there, maybe a couple of snowflakes trying to sneak in there. Not a big issue. It's going to be mainly cold rain, but along the I-95 corridor, it's going to be a close call. And if this holds, then we're going to have issues along the I-95 corridor early on Tuesday morning as this thing lifts out. Now, Tuesday, I still think that we'll be able to warm up as the wedge breaks down. By the evening hours, I think we should be able to make it back to about the upper 40s to low 50s that afternoon. But it's going to take some time. But needless to say, there's still so much uncertainty in that forecast that we can't really make a big call on that. I will say that the potential is there for the I-95 counties to see some ice late on Tuesday and into early on Monday and into Tuesday, and you saw that on the precision forecast model. It was still showing that, but it had a second wave rolling through that would likely have the same type of effect for them, for the Piedmont. So we're just going to be watching that, and we'll make the mention for maybe a wintry mix on the back side of this late Monday into Tuesday for deep inland sections, not necessarily for the coastal areas. If you live near the coast, it's not going to be an issue, but for deep inland sections near I-95, that's what we're talking about. And by Wednesday, this thing is a distant memory. You know, Wednesday, we should be able to get back to the 60s, mid-60s that afternoon, what I'm calling for. And Thursday, there's going to be another disturbance rolling through here, but it's going to cool us down just a touch. We'll be in the low 60s and back into the 50s as an Arctic high tries to build back in here by Friday. But still some uncertainty in the modeling long range, and I'll show you that here. That's a look at the ensemble forecast, the short-range ensemble forecast coming off of various variations of the NAM and the WRF model, and this is for New Bern. Very good agreement tonight. I think we hold around 50 for there. And then up to the low 70s tomorrow. Very good agreement on that. But you see how the models diverge as we head into early Sunday morning. And then, bam. The highest member in the 70s. The lowest member near 50. And the means around 60. What we did, we took it around the mean. We went 59 for a high on Sunday. And then huge spread of temperatures all the way through Monday. And you see one member of the suite wants to go near 70 degrees on Monday, and the lowest member wants to go closer to the low 20s. So a huge spread in the modeling. Most of them are clustered around this falling temperature regime from 52 down to around 40 or so for New Bern on Monday, and that's kind of what we're thinking, and that's what we've kind of gone with our temperatures for Monday. But needless to say, there's such a huge range there. There's a lot of difference in the models that we're just going to have to watch for. So I don't want to really pinpoint that necessarily just yet, but needless to say, the potential is there. That's going to do it for me here on the ENC Weather Update. You can stay up to date with us, Facebook, Twitter, WNCT.com, on a brand new Storm Team 9 app, in the Google Play Store, and the Apple App Store. Have a great rest of your evening, a great day tomorrow, and a great weather week ahead.